afternoon.
Hello, everyone. And on behalf of the entire Kurbin and Moscowitz families, thank you so much for coming today to celebrate the amazing life of Rainey Joan. She was born Roberta Joan Weintraub on a sunny day on the first day of winter in 1940. Today is a rainy day here in New York on the first day of spring. And just as my mom, Rainey, transformed herself over her lifetime, the world is transforming before our very eyes. But I know my mom would have loved this online celebration of her life, even in these most unusual of circumstances. Today, we'll be hearing from other family members and even from my mom, whose creative work over her lifetime was nothing short of extraordinary. First up, I'm going to read the obituary written by the love of her life, her amazing, doting husband, Robert Moscowitz. With tears and great sadness, we bid farewell to a woman who was too fine for life on this harsh planet. Raised by wounded children of the Depression, she nevertheless blossomed from childhood to adulthood with unusual intelligence, depth of understanding, wit, wisdom, strength of character, musical talent, and a powerhouse of creativity. She graduated with distinction from Barnard College, raised 3 remarkable children, studied and became an ordained minister of divine wisdom, earned a variety of advanced degrees, devoted some of her energies as a college professor, adventured to places most of us fear to go, forged a successful life full of generous love and friendship, and ceaselessly continued professing and teaching everyone she met the most important lessons of life, love, and expanded consciousness to be found on this planet. For nearly 8 decades, she grew herself, strengthened herself, told the truth, and fought for righteous equality and fairness, never quitting until a super bug lodged in her lungs and resisted even Rainey's extreme efforts to survive and bring light. Now she is gone from us, leaving a gigantic hole that can never be filled. She can never be replaced. We will never forget her. We hope and believe that her light continues to shine, that her ideas and her music and her spirit will continue her never-ending journey toward consciousness and love throughout the universe. We miss her terribly. Signed, the husband, family, and tribe of Rainey Joan. Thank you so much for those words, Robert. Next up, I'd like to introduce one of Rainey's stepsons. Please welcome Jake Moscowitz.
Hey, thanks so, wait, am I on? Yes, I'm unmuted. Dave, thanks so much for the opportunity. First of all, I just wanted to say, on behalf of the Moskowitz family, we just cannot put into words how lucky we all are that my dad and Rainey met, was about 15 years ago. It just dramatically changed the trajectory of my dad's life and all of our lives because of that, and just how happy that he was throughout all of that time, including now, that he met her. And you know, how much better our family life was as a result. The two of them were really wonderful together. Like, if you ever wonder if there is a such thing as soulmates, getting to know my dad and Rainey will convince you. But it's also not just that. I mean, Rainey was also unbelievable with my daughters. I have 2 daughters, they're 8-year-old twins. She was incredible with them. She would get down on the floor and really embed herself in their life and you know, go deep with my girls on my girls' terms, even when they were young. And that's something that is, you know, it's a rare quality. And she also was had a lot of characteristics that make her a great role model for my girls as well. I wanted to mention three. Number one, she was incredibly comfortable being her own person. And that's really something that I strive for my girls to feel as well. Number two, perhaps she was courageous in the fact that she lived her life on her own terms. So not only was she comfortable with who she was, but she had the guts to live that life, consistent with that. And then lastly, because she's a creative spirit, an incredibly creative spirit, she was always, creating new concepts and ideas of her own. And that all three of those things are things that I wish for my daughters. So she was a great role model. One thing that you mentioned or that my dad wrote in that obituary that really stuck with me is she adventured to places most of us fear to go. And when I first heard it, I assumed that it had something to do with physical adventures. But the reality is that it's a lot more than that. She adventured in her life, in her mind, in her consciousness, to places that most of us fear to go. And she's a great role model for that. And then lastly, I just wanted to say one thing that my dad has said about her that I wanted to pass along. He says that with Rainey's cleverness gone out of the world is duller than it used to be. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I'm really thankful to have been a part of Rainey's life these last 15 years.
Thank you so much, Jake. And thank you to the Moskowitzes for all of your support these last couple of days. Next up, I'm going to introduce to you one of Rainey's nieces. Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us today. And a reminder to unmute yourself for everyone.
Hi, everyone. It was easy for me to think in the way that I related to her. And I don't know how others related to her, but I wanted to share how she made me feel. And it just reminded me the way Jake was talking about how she related to his girls. It reminded me of the times when I really started remembering, really started having memories with her and creating memories with her. And she was always so genuinely interested in my thoughts and my feelings, whether I was a 4-year-old or a 34-year-old. She always got in my thoughts, got in there with me, and we would laugh so much. We really laughed so much. And I hope that everyone speaking here today remembers how deeply she could laugh and what that feels like, because it's very special. And last couple of days, I've been remembering how much she loved me because of all those times and all of those memories. And I couldn't help but feel a little bit of that love is missing. But I'm really, really grateful for it. And I'm grateful that everyone in this chat today got to share a little bit of that love. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And as they say in most memorial services, please mute yourself after talking. Next up is my youngest brother and Rainey's youngest son, Daniel.
I believe I'm unmuted. Everybody, yeah, great. Okay. My mother spent much of her final time on Earth attempting to leave behind lessons. I want to honor her today by sharing the lessons I actually learned, and hopefully there's some overlap. Have fun when you fight. I knew a different version of this before she taught me. For me, it was about not losing sight of honesty, humility, and humor, 3 H's. But she revealed something else, something bigger. My mom and Robert would have these screaming matches that felt like they went on for somewhere between seconds to minutes, and then would abruptly end in playful laughter. I mean, these were real fights with real emotion, but they were having fun fighting them somehow. Extremely instructive. I never seen anything like it in person or in fiction. Don't compromise on good nutrition and taste. From a very young age, my mom impressed upon me a preference for real food. To this day, I try to avoid natural flavors. I watched her argue with doctors, and then I also saw her delighted when UCLA Medical was able to provide a standard of hospital food that only California conceivably could. But really, your body is your temple, and you too should desire that every vendor at the farmer's market knows you by name. Celebrate while you can. In the end, you'll need peace. My mother once imagined dying as a potential joy, replete with parties and lighthearted ceremonies, until she started dying. Reality didn't cooperate on this one. She ended up spending months yearning for relief. And this tension really bugged her. The silver lining, and it's a huge one, is that in her final moments, she was able to say goodbye and I love you to her closest family, and while she was in no pain, had all her faculties, and was choosing to stop fighting. It was perfect. But really, celebrate while you can. You never know when that will cease to be an option. We're always teaching. Since I'm in the middle of delivering her teachings, I could let this one stand on its own. I won't. She told me stories exalting the idea of spreading ashes in meaningful and exotic places. That's not where she landed, though. She donated her body to science so that her corporeal remnants might teach us something. Still teaching in her final act after a life lived constantly looking for norms to question, little guys' causes to champion, and power structures to sermon against. When you're ahead of your time, you miss a lot. You hit, yes, by doing paleo as much as 20 years before everyone else, ditto yoga, ditching Facebook early, keto, raw foods, anti-inflammatory, actually a lot of diets, along with maybe a certain brand of socialism that's all the rage with the kids these days. One big hit might be seeking so-called alternative living arrangements. Even conservative voices seem to be realizing the nuclear family was kind of a flash in the pan, peaked in the 50s. So maybe my mom was ahead on this, or maybe 100 or more years behind. I genuinely think that she was ahead. And she also missed a lot in two senses. She missed out. She grew to find little to no comfort in traditional associations such as religion, typical work structures, or groups focused around hobbies, which made her life harder in many ways. And she missed the mark in this bewildering world of mis and disinformation. She was sometimes landing on things like chemtrails or Joe Ray. For those of you who don't know, Joe Ray was a cult that involved holding up your hand close enough to a person's body that they could feel the healing energy emanating out of it. Spoiler alert, it was heat. This was one that she could always identify as ridiculous, and we always laughed about it. We're always learning. That sounds trite. It's really not. Until very recently, she was renting the maximum number of library books you could, sometimes multiple times per week. She spent a ton of time on the internet seeking truth with a capital U, as is the internet's specialty. She was on Twitter at 79. She was someone who read the full story, and then she kept going, looking for more perspectives to honor and hear and give voice to. Perhaps she could be mercurial, yes, but she also had this vastness to her mind that was just incredible. You can love completely, even through thick scars. Maybe not even, maybe especially. When you're hurt, it can grow your empathy. My mother was hurt from a very young age in ways I'm only this week beginning to understand, but she let it turn her into a person who loved easily, saw what was lovable in others quickly, and offered love deliberately. She loved my father for a long arc of her life, to which I literally owe my life, as well as the blessings of my brother's lives. And she loved Robert for another long arc, which I'm also deeply grateful for. There were a few auditions for the part of stepdad to already grown-up kids, and I really could not have asked for better. Among my last conversations with her, she said sorry. And without a second thought, I said, "You have nothing to be sorry for." I've since doubted that. I'm sure I will find things to be mad about all over again. Perhaps I will engage in a kind of fight with her memory and maybe abruptly let it become joyous laughter. Above all, I have the good fortune to have had a mom who loved me beyond a shadow of a doubt, and who I knew would be there for me. Maybe in some ways I didn't want, and maybe not in some ways I did. But enough that I am deeply grateful for the time she was here for us. And she wanted us to know she's still here for us. I'm not sure what that means. I am sure it came from a really good place, imaginative, creative, powerful, loving, and kind like her. I will miss her immensely.
Thank you so much, Dan. You are brilliant, and I love you so much. Okay, speaking of brilliant, next up is my mom's second son and my younger brother. Please welcome Phil.
Thanks, Dave. And I don't relish the assignment of going after our Berkeley-educated philosopher brother and his deep wisdom there. I think what I really want to express appreciation for is not so much the radical and the exceptional and the wonderful sort of eccentricities that defined the 60s and 70s when mom was a radical activist, and sort of the 2000s when she was a new age guru, astrologer, Center for Consciousness, all this kind of stuff. What I really appreciate kind of more than ever, raising a family of my own, were the years where she was just a normal mom, raising kids in a brownstone in Brooklyn, and the stuff that we take for granted, but is really hard. It's not an easy thing to do, to be there reliably and take care of the house and take care of the family. And, she got us into the best schools and the special programs and all the enrichment and all the activities and all the stuff that, it's especially for kids like us who we thought everything was too easy. We were, we were prone to being disobedient more or less all the time. And at least I was. That's really, really tough. And of course, when Daddy kind of lost it and went in the hospital, she held it together for a few years, at least, long enough for Dave and me both to get to college and kind of get launched in our lives. And all three of us really turned out pretty well in the end, I think. So, I had I think that she and I both carried, a lot of emotional scarring from sort of the clashes that we had, but I was really glad that I was able to talk to her, on her last day a couple days ago. And I went kind of a different direction, when she apologized to me, for the transgressions over the years, what have you. I didn't say, you have nothing to apologize for the way Dan did. I said, I forgive you. And I said, you should be totally at peace that, nothing you did wrong really mattered in the end. And the things that you did right really, really did, and made me, who I am, and set me up for all the success that I've had in life, and that I was appreciative of that. And I said I loved her, which I very seldom say to anyone except, my wife and my own kids. So I felt pretty good with how we left things. And we had a little hot potato appearance unplanned. So when a global pandemic forces you out of a actual physical assemblage to the online, things in the home can go slightly not perfectly according to plan. So the hot potato was not planned. In any event, I think she was a pretty remarkable person, and I think I'm probably already over my elapsed time, but I do want to also express just the deepest appreciation for Robert, for you, and everything that you did for Mom. And when I was out there, and I was so glad that I visited in November when you said you got to come visit your mom. It might be your last chance, and it turns out it was. And I'm so happy I was able to do that, and walk her down to the beach in the wheelchair and have those couple of days, which were very special to me. And I was just amazed at the good cheer with which you took her every demand, and when she reversed course, you just went with it with a smile, and it really, you really made the last decade and a half of her life so much better than it otherwise would have been. And I know that all of the Kurbins are enormously appreciative for that. So I want to thank you for that, and I'll leave it there. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much, Phil. So next up, we're going to welcome another one of Rainey's nieces. This is Tani, and she's going to say a few words, and then she's actually going to sing for us one of Rainey's songs entitled Grandpa's Song. Thanks so much for joining us, Tani.
Hi. So I wish I could be with all of you right now and hug everybody, because it's so strange not to be able to do that. I hope this is a temporary reality for us all. Yeah, this is what virtual hugging looks like. It's my hands. Don't hear me.
We lost you there, Tani. I don't know if you you seem to be muted. We lost you there for a moment. I don't know if it's internet related. You guys can't hear Tani either, right? Tani, sweetie, we lost you.
Wave your hand.
Tani, we lost you. You hit the mute button, I think. We lost you. We can't hear you.
Okay, so my microphone kind of just disappears sometimes.
Got it. It's back.
It's back, yeah. So maybe I might pause when I get all those messages that says your microphone can't be seen and Anyway, I don't know.
For many years, we've been practicing to do a virtual memorial services. So there's no reason anyone would expect anything to go wrong on this one.
Okay, so I'll try again. So my aunt has always been there for me. She was there when I was born, and she is one of those constant presence in my life, and she always made me feel wanted and loved in this world. And she was always a fierce example to me that although I so desperately wanted to be normal and fit in, she just exemplified standing out and changing her mind whenever she pleased. And she was not beholden to anyone. She did not check in when she decided to change her mind. So I love that, and I love that she was brilliant And I love that she could be oppositional. And I love that she really was fiercely herself, even as she was evolving. And I take a page from that, or I try to take a page from that every day, give myself permission to be whatever that is. And I only wish that she knew how loved she was. And you know, sometimes I felt like her fight was reflexive. And, you know, when she let down that armor at times and allowed herself to be loved, you know, as someone who loved her so much, I really valued those moments. And I feel like how she
You have an interesting technology apparatus there, cousin Tani. We'll just wait. While we take this brief break, I will let you guys know that if you want to learn more about her life and times, there's a ton of amazing material up at rememberingrainey.com. Thanks to my wife, Carrie, for putting that site together in like 24 hours. Tani, if you wanted to finish your remarks briefly here.
Yes. Okay, so anyway, I hope, and I'm so glad and grateful for her beautiful, brilliant sons, and for Robert for taking such good care of her. I think that was by design and not by accident, and kind of was part of her evolving self. And I will try to sing the song if my microphone will stay with us. Here we go. I wish I could say I'd always be here. I will be, but not like this. No hug or kiss or holding hands. No conversation, making plans. You can't sit in my lap because I won't have a lap anymore. But you can put on your thinking cap and see my smiling face anytime and any place. It'll be like magic, so don't get all tragic when we part, because I'll still be here living in your heart. And I will always love you. And I know you'll always love me.
Thank you so much, Tani, and for your words and for your singing of my mom's words. And again, my mom just, as you guys will see on the website, had so much creative output. It's truly amazing. Speaking of her words, next up we have a unique treat. We are going to hear from my mom herself, as long as technology allows that to happen. First, I'm going to play a clip from a pretty amazing interview that my brother Dan did with my mom a few months ago. And again, you can, sorry for all these plugs, but you can hear the whole thing at rememberingrainey.com. And then I'm going to play a clip of one of her songs that she performed alongside her music therapist, Laura Konofsky. My mom had an uncanny ability to make the impossible happen. And one example is going on hospice care and having a music therapist through hospice care record many of her songs. It's truly unbelievable. And I'm so grateful to Laura Konofsky for being able to do that with my mom. So first a clip from my mom, and then a little bit of one of her songs.
I don't know the answer to when I'm gone, what I want. Because I like people to remember the good things and the not so good things. Just remember it all. Be generous. Because humans make mistakes. It's part of being alive.
Humans make mistakes. Humans make mistakes. It's part of being alive. If you can understand what you've done, your brain will grow and thrive. Remember this, a mistake is just a miss. If you can't handle feedback, you need analysis. When someone tells you you're wrong, don't get all headstrong. Don't let shame make you burn. Mistakes are the best way to learn. Take a deep breath and work on it. Just remember this little song. Humans make mistakes. It's part of being alive. If you can understand what you've done, your brain will grow. Your soul will grow. You'll grow and thrive. Humans make
My mom did make a lot of mistakes along the way. As she just pointed out, we all do. But what keeps striking me in the 40 hours since her passing was how unique and ahead of her time she truly was. People use those words, unique and one of a kind, way too generously. My mom really was one of a kind. If you don't believe me, allow me to introduce Exhibit A, the title of the semi-autographical book that my mom wrote and published, The Skinny, Adventures of America's First Bulimic. Or Exhibit B, my mom didn't just figuratively transform her life over and over. She literally did, changing her name from Roberta Weintraub to Bobby Nathan to Roberta Kurbin. Yes, Phil, I skipped a few, to eventually Rainey Joan. Or speaking of name changes, perhaps Exhibit C, my literal first experience with my mom. After 10 months of pregnancy, yes, you heard that right. My mom insisted till the end that that was true. After 10 months of pregnancy, I finally came out and I was born. But apparently my parents still hadn't agreed on a name after 10 months, somehow. And apparently my mom was sleeping when the hospital staff came around asking for a name for my birth certificate. My father, who had been raised by a Christian mom, submitted my name as Christopher David Kurbin. When my mom woke up, she said to my dad, "Honey, we're Jewish. We can't exactly name our son after Jesus Christ." So at the ripe old age of 3 days, I became David. Years later, I became strictly Dave. I think I have my mom to thank for that name change. And I know I have my mom to thank for not being called Christopher. Except, of course, in driver's ed and at airport security and certain places like that. Yes, my mom was totally unique and truly ahead of her time. Exhibit D. In first grade at PS 230 for Halloween, my class made a list of all the things we were afraid of. Gabe was afraid of ghosts. Charlie was afraid of monsters. Robin was afraid of the dark. And me? Thanks to my mom's influence, the book reads, David is afraid of artificial colors and artificial flavors. This was 1982, folks, long before Whole Foods even existed, ahead of her time. My mom believed in public education, but she insisted that I get the best education possible. So she got me into a gifted program that I wasn't zoned for in Brooklyn. Then she got me a scholarship to a private school for 2 years when she heard that the 5th grade teacher at the public school that I was at wasn't very good. And then she pushed me to take the test for Hunter, a 7 through 12 school that would change my life forever. Though we had been physically far away from each other for most of the past 25 years, I always knew that I had a raving fan in my mom. When I got married 13 years ago, in a pretty non-traditional way, I would say, perhaps taking a bit of inspiration from my super non-traditional mom, there she was, performing a family ceremony as an interfaith minister that she had become. My mom officially got to welcome me into Carrie and Charlotte's family. Yes, my childhood was far from traditional, and we definitely had our share of challenges growing up. But I will tell you this, my one-of-a-kind, ahead of her time mom taught me how to write. She taught me how to think outside of the box, and she taught me how to create. Most important, my mom taught me how important it is to constantly evolve every single day and to grow, to say I'm sorry when I screw up, to say thank you when I'm grateful, and to always continue to get up when I fall down, help others in need, and become the best person that I can be. She taught me that everyone is learning always. Thank you. And on that note, I'm going to share a couple of notes for everyone watching. Thank you so much for everyone watching. And then we're going to close with singing another one of Rayni's songs all together. Everyone is learning. So again, thank you so much for coming and attending this virtually. Most of all, I hope everyone watching is safe and healthy and remains safe and healthy for a long, long time to come. A couple more reminders. My brothers Phil and Dan and I will be sitting virtual Shiva this afternoon and evening. Please stop by and say hello if you can. But please be patient if you can't get into the virtual Shiva room right away. After all, you got to socially distance yourself. You can find Shiva information as well as information about how to donate to Doctors Without Borders or a deli delivering food to New York emergency rooms in my mom's honor. You can find all that info at the amazing website that my wife created, rememberingrainey.com. You can also find there some of my mom's songs, interviews, and her children's stories, the Shmulia series, not to be missed if you have kids. And you can leave a guest note there as well. Please leave a guest note and say hello and send your best to Robert and the family. To close, I'm going to invite Tani back. Actually, we're going to listen first to my mom's own singing of Everyone is Learning with her music therapist, Laura. And then we're all going to sing it together as a family to close us out. And I'm going to encourage you watching at home to sing the song as well. This is Everyone is Learning. Tani, I'm going to remind you to unmute yourself. Actually, everyone on the family, you can unmute yourself while I play Grandma Rainey's words.
So everyone's learning. I mean,
We're going to play it lower.
Okay.
Do you want to sing it with us, Robert?
Okay, we'll do it out. Everyone's learning what they have to learn. Everyone's learning what they have to learn. Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning what they have to learn. Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning what they have to learn.
So we
And now, let's close it out by singing all together. Everyone's learning what they have to learn. Everyone's learning
what they have to
learn.
Everyone's learning.
Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning what they have to learn. Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning. Everyone's learning what they have to learn. Love you, everyone. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.